Stepmother threw her out on Christmas Eve, then 13 Hell's Angels arrived for the little girl. On a freezing Christmas night, a helpless girl faced cruelty, until unexpected bikers changed her destiny. Watch till end, subscribe our channel, like this video, and share this story of humanity. So let's begin. Snow drifted quietly across the empty streets of Milwaukee on Christmas Eve, wrapping the city in cold silence. 10-year-old Emily Carter stood outside a small brick house, clutching a worn backpack. The front door slammed shut behind her, the sound echoing louder than the winter wind in her chest. Her stepmother's final words still rang in her ears, sharp and unforgiving. Emily didn't fully understand what she had done wrong. Her father had passed away a year earlier, and since then the house never felt like home. Tonight it became something worse, locked, cold, and unreachable. Emily walked slowly down the sidewalk, boots soaked from snow. Warm lights glowed from nearby homes where families gathered around Christmas trees. Laughter floated through windows, but no one noticed the small girl moving alone through the storm, her head lowered to hide her tears. She stopped near a closed roadside diner, its windows fogged and dark. Exhausted, Emily sat on the icy steps and hugged her knees. Her fingers trembled as she pulled out a creased photo of her father, whispering that she was sorry she couldn't be stronger. Inside the diner, Mike Dawson was finishing paperwork before heading home. A long-time Hell's Angels member, he wasn't easily shaken, but something outside caught his eye. Through the frosted glass, he saw a tiny figure sitting alone in the snow. His instincts told him something was wrong. Mike stepped outside, the cold biting instantly. As he approached, he saw the girl's face clearly and froze. Emily looked exactly like her father, a man Mike once rode with, fought beside, and buried. His chest tightened. This wasn't just any child. This was family. Emily looked up, fear flashing across her face as she noticed the leather jacket and biker patches. She tried to stand, but slipped. Mike quickly knelt, holding up his hands calmly. His voice was gentle as he asked if she was okay and why she was alone on Christmas Eve. Her voice shook as she explained between sobs. Thrown out, no phone, no place to go. Mike listened silently, anger burning behind his steady expression. He draped his jacket around her shoulders and guided her back inside the diner, turning on the heater. As Emily sipped warm cocoa, Mike stepped aside and made a call. His voice was low but urgent. "I found her," he said simply. On the other end, there was no hesitation, only the sound of engines starting. The Brotherhood understood immediately. Minutes later, the quiet street roared to life. 13 motorcycles cut through the snowfall, headlights bright against the darkness. Emily watched from the window, scared at first, then curious. The men removed their helmets, their faces serious but kind. They entered quietly, bringing blankets, food, and warmth. One man handed Emily a small Christmas gift he had planned to give his niece. Mike knelt beside her and said softly, "Your dad was one of us. That means you're not alone." Emily's tears returned, this time from relief. The diner felt warmer than any place Emily could remember. The hum of the heater mixed with the quiet rumble of motorcycles outside. The men spoke softly, careful not to scare her. Someone placed a knitted blanket over her shoulders, and another set a small Christmas tree on the counter. Mike sat across from Emily, his voice calm and steady. He asked simple questions, her age, her school, where her stepmother lived. Emily answered slowly, still afraid of causing trouble. Mike assured her she hadn't done anything wrong, that adults sometimes failed children. Outside, snow continued to fall as the riders stood guard. None of them joked or laughed. They knew this night mattered. One man quietly called a family services hotline, explaining the situation carefully. There was no anger in his voice, only concern and responsibility. Emily listened as they talked, unsure what would happen next. She had been told all her life to stay away from bikers, but these men offered her food, warmth, and patience. One of them showed her a photo of her father wearing the same patch years ago. Tears filled Emily's eyes as she touched the picture. Mike explained how her father had once saved a brother during a winter crash and never asked for anything in return. "He had a big heart," Mike said. "That's why we look after you now." When the police arrived, the riders didn't bristle or resist. They stepped aside respectfully. Mike spoke clearly, showing photos, sharing names, and explaining how Emily had been found. The officers listened carefully, surprised by the calm cooperation and obvious care surrounding the child. Child Protective Services soon followed. Emily felt nervous again, but Mike stayed beside her the entire time. He held her hand while she explained what had happened at home. The truth came out slowly, but once it did, there was no doubt she couldn't return there. Hours passed, but no one left. Coffee was brewed again, blankets adjusted, and quiet conversations continued. Just before dawn, a CPS worker returned with good news. Emily's aunt in Minnesota had been located, someone her stepmother had cut off years earlier. Emily could hardly believe it. She remembered her aunt's laugh and the smell of cinnamon rolls during summers long ago. Arrangements were made quickly. The aunt was already on her way, driving through the night despite the weather. As Christmas morning broke, the snow softened and pale sunlight filled the diner. Emily packed her backpack, now heavier with gifts and warm clothes. Before leaving, she hugged each of the men, no longer afraid of the leather or the bikes. Mike knelt in front of her one last time and handed her an envelope. Inside was a photo of her father with the club and a handwritten note. It read, "Family isn't always blood, sometimes it's loyalty." Emily smiled, feeling something new. Hope. When her aunt arrived, tears and hugs filled the diner. The riders escorted them safely to the highway, engines roaring one final time. As Emily waved goodbye, she knew Christmas Eve had changed her life forever. Not because she was thrown out, but because she was found.